Hello everyone, today we will have a demonstration of objective morality. Why is this important? Well, this is very important because to say that there is no objective morality, that there is no inherent right and wrong or justice, we are saying that the actions of this man were nothing but a thing of an opinion, that killing a child and being a good parent is nothing but opinion, that the Holocaust, that the Chinese massacres by Mao Zedong or Stalin and the gulags, they are not really wrong. They are only but different political systems that kill a lot of people, but it doesn't really mean anything. That anything is possible, that nothing is true and everything is permitted. So it's quite a dangerous idea. However, if we defend objective morality, we can say that every human has rights, no matter their sexual orientation, their color of the skin, the place where they were born, the religion they have. All human beings are valuable. All human beings have rights and duties founded in natural law. Now, what do we need to know to defend it? Well, the first thing is essence. That things are connected to each other by a common fundamental principle of operation and accidents. What made the thing be what it is? For example, we have different breeds of cats, Avician, Persian, Siamese, Mushkin. However, we all identify them as cats because they are united by catness. Or man is a man because he's a rational animal, sensitive and nutritive systems. Now, there is a relationship between the essence and the final cause. We discover the essence of a thing based on its functions. In the order of being, is the essence predates the function, because the function comes from the essence. And the order of knowledge, the way we know it, is first from the function and then we discover the essence. For example, man. Man is a rational, social, sentient and animal being. We find that he is alive because he can move by himself and has the ability to grow, unlike an artificial object. We find that he is sentient because we can see that he is driven by instincts, seeking good and avoiding harm, as it causes discomfort. We know that he is social because he tends to join in the polis, a community. We know that he is rational because he can make moral judgments, think abstractly and understand logical thoughts, etc. It is impossible for there to be not nothing by essence. If there is nothing that exists by itself and everything is an accident, something predicated of the substance, such as a yellow cat or a fat man, but if everything is an accident then it has no foundation and therefore nothing exists. And constructivism, the idea that there are no essences, is self-refuting. If essences do not exist and are merely social or intellectual constructs, then the essence of the mind is also a social construct. But this would be to say that a social construct discovers that itself is a social construct, which is absurd. Therefore, the mind must exist to make these categories. Now, according to Aristotle in the Physics 2, he tells us that the essence is obvious that it exists. That nature exists would be ridiculous to try to prove, for it is clear that there are things that are as they are, and to prove what is clear, what is obscure, is the mark of those who are unable to distinguish what is knowable in itself from what is not. Dogs and cats behave the same way in China, Spain, Bolivia, the United States, and have behaved the same for 2000 years. If essences did not exist, all these repetitions, tendencies, and unity will be a miracle or magic. Now, natural laws are not a product of convention. It's not a product of convention that gravity exists, that things tend to go down, that the electron is attracted to the proton. It's not a thing of convention, but of real inclination or teleology. Nominalism undermines itself. A nominalist may claim that there are no natures, only similarities between similar objects. However, the idea of similarity is understood the same way in China and Argentina. So to deny that similarity is a universal, they will have to say that they are just similar ideas that connect our understanding of similarity that are connected by another ideas of similarity. So it's an infinite paradox. Now, the other very important concept is teleology. What is right and wrong? Well, Aristotle says that all the arts, all systematic interests of the mind, as well as our actions and moral decisions, seems to have as their aim some good that we desire to achieve. And for this reason, the good has been accurately defined as the object of all our aspirations. Teleology, in other words, the good is the actualization of the potential. The purpose of the will is the good. For example, it is good as for a seed to grow, to become a tree, for the eyes to see. And we say that a man that cannot see, that is blind, is a bad thing, because he cannot fulfill his purpose, he cannot actualize his potentiality. Now, potency and acts. This relationship is teleology, with actuality being the natural end of a potentiality. That is very obvious. For example, the egg and the chicken. It is not only a relationship of potentiality and actuality, but it's also teleological. It has an inclination, it has a goal, it has a purpose. Now, former cause and finality. Functions exist in the form of thing before they exist in actuality. For example, a fetus in the early stages has the potential to become a rational being, but it has that potential because it's already human in the first place. It already has the form of a human. Now, efficient process implies a final cause. Efficient process always produce the same effects. If this were not a real relationship, then the world we see would be a mirror. Cats beget cats. Fire, when touching wood, burns it. The earth orbits the sun. Beings beget human beings. So efficient process has an intrinsic relationship with final process. You cannot separate them. That would be a mistake. Now, in the comment on Aristotle's Metaphysics, Aquinas writes, even though the end is the last thing to come into being in some cases, it is always prior in causality, hence it is called the causes of causes, because it is the cause of the causality and of all causes, for it is the cause of efficient causality as has already been pointed out. The efficient cause is the cause of the causality of both the matter and the form, because by its motion it causes matter to be receptive of form and makes form exist in matter. Therefore the final cause is also the cause of the causality of both the matter and the form. Hence, in those cases in which something is done for an end, as occurs in the realm of natural things, is that in that of moral matters and in the form of art, the most forceful demonstrations are derived from the final cause, meaning that the final cause is the reason for the efficient cause and therefore prior to this. So A is directed towards B because it consistently produces the same effect, instead of C or D. The premises no longer follow. For example, all men are mortal, Socrates is a man, and Socrates is mortal. If there is no intrinsic direction, then this cannot be explained. The intellect no longer follows truth. There is no connection between the intellect and the truth we know, or the objects, or that our sensual experience is connected to the things we see in the world. If they are not connected, then we cannot discover truth, and therefore intentionality ceases to exist. We also have intentionality in the mind. So if there is no inclination, no goal-oriented world, then there is no intentionality in the mind either. Now, so defending the existence of morality, does that mean that if God does not exist, then everything is permitted? Well, Dostoevsky writes this in a very different context, answering materialism, naturalism. That is the point of Dostoevsky. That is what he's responding to in his novel. But does objective morality in the object, does that imply the existence of God? And the answer is yes, it implies the existence of God. And that is what we know the fifth way of Thomas Aquinas. Now, Things have a final cause or a purpose. Because a purpose or an end is only given by an intellect, someone with will, this situation is comparable to a carpenter and a table made for eating or a chair for sitting. Because final causes exist here and now, it is necessary for this intellect to exist here and now to explain present intentionality in these things. We must say that this intellect, by ordering ends, is the efficient cause of reality. Because it is the efficient cause, it means that it possesses no potentiality of any kind. It must be simple, identifying with the art of being, and it does not receive being from anyone, but on the contrary, it is the one who orders others. Because it has no potentiality, we must say that it is pure art, and therefore it is God. Now, let us Edward Fesser explain it to us in Aquinas A Beginner's Guide. One of the common objections to the very idea of final causation is that it seems to entail that a thing can produce an effect even before the thing exists. Hence, to say that an oak tree is the final cause of an atom seems to entail that the oak tree, which doesn't exist yet, in some sense causes the atom to pass through every stage it must reach on the way to becoming an oak tree, since the oak is the goal or natural end of the atom. But how can this be? Consider those cases where goal directness is associated with the consciousness, as it is in us. A builder builds a house, and he is able to do so because the effect the house exists as an idea in his intellect before it exists in reality. That is the way in which the house serves as the final cause of the actions of the builder, even as those actions are the efficient cause of the house. Indeed, that is the only way the house can do so. For a cause to have any efficacy must in some sense exist, and if it doesn't exist in reality, then the only place left it for it to exist, certainly for Aquinas, is in an intellect.